Hello, dog lover, and welcome to another live dog training on Sorrow Dog Training. Dog training, live dog training session on Sorrow Dog Training. Welcome, and hope you're doing well. Just thought to come live and do a live session and maybe answer some of your questions, and let's just talk about dogs. Just out of nowhere, I just surprised myself and you as well. So I hope you're doing well. Hope everything is going well. Um, Today, I just want to answer your questions. Any questions that you have that about dogs, just type it in a chat area, and I'll get to them right away and answer them. We'll hang out for a little while, and then we'll see how things go. If you are new here, my name is Sorrow. I'm a dog trainer, also coach dog owners. I tend to use a dog training method which is very unique, it's very different, and is not common in dog training, using play and praise to reward dogs instead of using food or treats or using aversive tools, aversive method, force, or domination. We don't use any of those. We use only play and praise. Dogs are motivated, be it mainly play and praise, but unfortunately, many dog owners are uh, told and are prone to use treats or food to reward their dogs or use treats to train their dogs. In my channel, you're going to learn a lot of techniques and ideas about how to train your dog without the use of treats or food. Why I don't suggest to use treats or food? That's a good question. I have also several videos that I've done about it, and I've talked about it. Why you shouldn't be using treats or food to use to train your dogs. Well, first of all, it's not healthy. Second of all, it just distracts your dog and distracts the focus of your dog to something that it's not supposed to happen. What I mean by that is most dogs, when it comes to treats or food, they consider treats or food as a food feeding session. So when you include food in the training, they get distracted, they get confused, they don't understand why feeding is happening now. I'm not supposed to be eating now. When you distract and when you confuse your dog, causes a lot of issues to develop, behavioral, mental, emotional issues to develop. Although many dog trainers, many dog owners use treats and they know that it's a good thing, but when you understand the concept of how dogs learn and how dogs like to be motivated, and once you understand the concept and reality and the truth in a way, then you don't want to use treats at all. Other reasons are basically what happens when you use treats to train your dogs is causes a lot of health issues to develop. We want to have healthy dogs, obviously. So one of the ways that we can do that is by helping our dogs to stay healthy. Um, and get the dog to live longer, healthier life. And one of the ways is to reduce the food, reduce the number of times that dogs are being fed, reduce the amount of food itself as well, and basically not to feed the dog often. And when you feed a dog or a human being too often, it causes the insulin levels to spike, and when they spike, it causes a lot of health issues to develop. So we don't want the dogs to develop health issues. We want them to be healthy. And you can use treats. Many dog owners, many people ask me, then when do you use treats? When can we use treats? Well, you can use treats for no reason. You can give treats to your dog just because. Just don't use treats to train your dog, to teach your dog something. Because when you do that, give when you give treats to your dog or use treats to train your dog, again, it confuses your dog, it causes health issues to develop. So I give treats when my dogs are doing nothing. They're either, they're good dogs, they're just hanging and calm, and they're calm and relaxed, and or I want to share some treats with them just because, or they're relaxed, or they're having fun. They're I use treats for as a dessert. When they had their lunch or dinner, just give them a dessert. So you can use treats um, for no reason, but don't use it to train your dog. That's one of the problems that happens. What happens is when you use treats, you start depending on treats, and then your dog starts depending on treats. And if you don't present treat to your dog gets confused and says, what am I supposed to do? So a lot of things happens when you use treats. So in my channel, you'll learn how to use play and praise instead of treats to train your dog. So make sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon as well to be notified as soon as I post a video, or if I go live like this, like Donald just joined us. And I'm going to start answering your questions as well. So the goal of today is just to answer your questions. And I'm going to also introduce you to something that I'm very excited and proud of as well. Stay tuned. Yours truly, Alisa, says, tips on teaching dog to sit. So it depends on how old your dog is. So, there are two stages when it comes to dogs. When it's a puppy and when it's an adult dog. You basically use the same system when it comes to teaching a dog to sit or any command in general. I like to start training my dog when they're on leash because they're under control. I can control my dog. So I put my dog on a leash, first of all. Second of all, I go through process of introducing the word first to my dog, the command first. What that means is I introduce the command of, for example, sit to my dog. So my dog hears it, first of all, what it is. So it's kind of introduced, familiar with it. And then when it's familiar, I just stick to basic formula, which is you only use three parts when it comes to teaching a dog a command: name of the dog, command, and the hand signal. This is the common basic obedience training formula. You ask your dog what the name is to so your dog is not paying attention. You call your dog and your dog pays attention to you. What is it? Asks the question, what is it? And then you say sit, and you give the hand signal as well. The hand signal for sit is this. You teach the dog that. You ask the dog to do that, and if the dog does it, which usually dogs naturally do the command without really having a hard time learning it, because sitting is something natural that they do. If it doesn't happen, you gently pull the leash up, put the bum down, kind of introduce the physical, mechanical way of the command. And once the dog learns it a few times, you repeat that. Then you just verbalize it. You just say Rover sit, and Rover sits. It's very easy command to teach a dog. If you want to teach your dog how to sit, I have a video on my channel and you can go ahead and watch it and learn how to do it. I'm going to share the video in the chat area. I'm going to call it sit command. So it would be in the chat area. You can go ahead and watch it and learn it, how to do it actually. I'm going to have the link in the chat area. Yes. So Mariam is asking what to do about my dog's hair fall. You mean shedding, right? Your dog shedding. Well, shedding is there are two reasons why dogs shed and how you can manage it. One is seasonal, one is nutritional. The seasonal is that dogs, because they have two layers of coats on their body, they tend to shed one layer depending on the season. If the weather is getting warm and warmer, they start shedding to get rid of the extra fur on their body. That is natural thing that is going to happen, and you can't do anything about it. All you have to do is manage it. What I mean by managing is just shed your dog, brush your dog, so your dog can easily get rid of those extra hair fur that is hanging. Just to remove it, the best thing to do is just use a brush, and maybe every few weeks, maybe every couple of weeks, maybe depending on your dog and breed and the month that they're shedding. Every few seasons, it happens when the season changes. Actually, just brush your dog more often. The other thing is that it happens depending on the diet of your dog. The diet of your dog, it not only affects all aspect of your dog's health, but also it affects the shedding. If your dog is not on a healthy diet, which is mainly fresh food, your dog is going to have more shedding and bald spots and maybe more hair. The difference between a dog who's on a healthy diet and non-healthy diet is that a healthy diet is going to have a shiny, good, healthy fur, which is healthy internally, and it's not shedding all the time, and it's in good shape. Whereas unhealthy diet of a dog can cause the dog to shed more, even to the point that the dog may have bald spots and things like that, and that's a great signal of your body's internal system that is telling you and the dog that there's something wrong with the diet. You need to change the diet. So, few tips there. Hope those helps. And you have another follow-up question: how to stop my dog from barking on strangers? Well, if your dog is barking at strangers, which I have one of those, Annie is one of those. She barks at strangers. There's a pros and cons when that happens. The good thing is that you have a guard dog. You have a dog who's gonna protect you, wants to alarm you and let you know that there's a stranger. I don't know if that's something that you like that or you don't. If you like it, for example, I'm encouraging my dog to do that because I want her to naturally guard my property. I want her to let me know if there's any stranger coming in. So if anything that happens, any strange thing happens or stranger comes in, I want my dog to inform me, let me know. And the reason she does that is because she's afraid of strangers and strange things. It's not that she's been bred to protect the property. It's just that she's very aware of what's going on. She's always paying attention to her surroundings, and anytime she feels there's a strange thing or stranger coming in, she barks at them to let them know that, hey, I'm here, I'm afraid of you, don't come near. But as a human being, I use that alarm system as knowing that there's a stranger in the house. So I like that. But if you don't like it that your dog is barking at strangers, it's something that you want to really get rid of it. That's a sign, again, as I said, that's because your dog is afraid of strangers. It's sensitive dog and is afraid of everything that is happening around her. If they are strange or something unusual, she reacts to that. That's a sign that your dog needs to build more confidence and also build more social skills with strangers. In that case, you have to expose your dog to situations and environments and people more and more, so she gets used to them and starts um, slowly fade out that feeling that your dog has, that I'm going to respond to strangers. So more exposure, more training to bring the confidence level up and all that. It's not that my dog, Annie, for example, it's not trained and confidence level is low. She is trained, but when it comes to situations like that, when she reacts to strangers, I encourage that. I tell her, good girl, because I want that. But for instance, if I didn't want that, I'll do the training, and I will use the training techniques and the ideas that she knows. When she reacts, I use those techniques to correct her or to override the feelings and emotions and focus that she has on strangers. So, what that means is, let's say if you have a dog who's trained and responds to your command fully, when a stranger comes, I'll ask my dog, hey, Rover, do this and that, sit, stay, this and that. So my dog starts from focusing on, instead of focusing on that stranger or something that is happening, redirects the focus to me and says, I'm going to follow what my human it's telling me. Right? I'm going to do that. I'm going to focus on that rather than the strangers. So you're redirecting the focus from whatever it is that causes anxiety in your dog to you. But that's the reason why we do training. We train the dog to manage them and control them in cases that we don't want them to react to certain things. So training is important. Exposure to strangers and environments are very important too. So those are things that you want to work on and maybe focus on. Yeah. So one more tip, Mariam. So if you want your dog to stop barking at strangers, you have to start the training now. So before, so your dog is prepared. So you don't want to wait until she barks at strangers also, and then go and correct her and manage her without having any foundation in your training. You want to have some form of foundation done as a training with your dog and build on that foundation, so your dog has some ideas of how he's supposed to react and how he's supposed to respond to your commands. So therefore you're going to get results. But if you just go from nothing and your dog is barking and you bark and you also yell at your dog, hey, stop barking, hey, stop doing that, you're also barking with your dog and you're joining her team. And she says, oh, when you saw this stranger you started reacting, so I'm going to react even more. So that's not a good formula. If you don't want her to bark, you have to have some way of managing and controlling your dog. That comes from training. You know, start puppy training, obedience training, adult training, build on those and work on those. Make sure you're preventing it before it happens. Hopefully, though, that answers your question. And we have a comment from yours truly. Elisa says, my puppy is a 5 months old beagle. Welcome to Beagle Club. There we go. We got the beagles going on. This is my beagle shrine. So welcome to the club. And Mariam, you have another, again, follow-up question. So from jumping. So your dog is jumping, barking, I'm sure there are more behaviors as well. Just start training your dog, so when your dog is jumping also you can manage and control it. That's all you have to do. And yours truly, Alisa, is saying, still can't get him potty trained. 5 months old beagle, also stop him from jumping up on people, just like Mariam. So potty training, if you're still having potty training issue, I would say you haven't done a proper job of potty training your puppy. So what that means is you haven't really communicated clearly to your puppy to tell it what it's supposed to do and how it should do it. So what I would do, I would invest maybe 48 hours, maybe 3-4 days, and I will take my puppy every couple of hours to the designated area that you want your puppy to pee and do its business, and just take it there. Whether your puppy does its business or not, you take it there every couple of hours. Just invest on a weekend or a long weekend, just couple of hours, every couple of hours, just take your puppy to the designated area and ask it to do its business. If it does it, good boy, good girl, and all that. If it doesn't, just bring it back. The other tip that I have, when you bring back, don't give freedom. Just don't let the puppy go all over the place and do whatever it wants. Confine it. Put it in a crate, put it on a leash, have it with you. As soon as you notice if your puppy is on a leash, and as soon as you notice that your puppy is thinking of doing some funny job, funny work, and wants to go and do its business, just quickly take it out to that designated area and let it do business in there. If it does it, good girl, good boy, praise it. If it doesn't, bring it back and continue on repeating that. Don't give freedom. Many dog owners, what happens is puppy owners actually, what happens is they see that the puppy is not doing it, so they just let it be. They let it just be roaming freely in the house, and the puppy goes, I have to go now, and my human is not noticing it, so I'm just going to do it in here. I'm going to do it here or over there. So I'm going to share a video in the link area, in the chat area. I'm going to put a link. I'm going to call it potty training. You can go ahead and watch this video as well and learn how to potty train your puppy. It's easy. It takes a little bit of effort in the beginning. It takes a little bit of work, but you have to go through this in order for the puppy to learn and understand what you want it to do. You have to have a schedule, a routine, so the puppy understands what you want and does it. And your follow-up question is, also stop him from jumping up on people. So your puppy, because it's a beagle and 5 months old, is excited to see people and jumps on them. And jumping is something that, very common in dogs. They do it. It's natural behavior that they do. But what you can do is start developing and training your dog a few commands of sit, stay. So when your puppy meets another person, you can ask your puppy to sit and stay instead of jumping on people. So that way your redirecting the puppy's behavior and actions that it's supposed to do with a new behavior. So you replace it with, instead of jumping, you sit and stay, and you prevent it before it jumps on the dog, on the people. So you teach it sit, stay command, and as soon as you come across a person and meet your new people, um, you ask the puppy, hey, there's a new person, sit and stay. So the puppy sits and stays, and the person pets your dog, interacts with your dog, with your puppy. And that way the puppy learns, oh, if I sit and stay, then I get interaction from human. But if I don't sit and stay, I never get interaction from human. Simple, yet it takes time to teach the dog. Hopefully, those help you. Donald saying, thank you, sir. You are welcome. I'm not sure, Donald, if you asked the question, but you are welcome. We have a question from Van. My dog is very food aggressive. He's a beagle as well. Whenever I stand next to him while eating, he growls. Try to train him to wait until his food bowl is down, but he gets aggressive. Your dog is a beagle as well, and is showing aggressive behaviors when food is involved. Uh, Let me see. Hold on. I'm not seeing Donald's question, but I'm told that Donald has a question. Donald, I don't see your question. Can you let me know what the question is? Just give me a minute. Let me just figure out what the question is. Okay, Donald, I'll come back to your question. At the moment, I'm going to answer Van's question, and then I'll figure out what your question was, and I'll answer it. My assistant is trying to let me know what the question is. I missed it. I don't see it in the chat area for some reason, but I'll figure it out and I'll answer your question. So, Van, if you have a beagle is food aggressive, so one of the reasons, again, that I don't usually suggest dog owners to use treats or food to train their dog or get involved to use treats or food to do tasks with their dogs, including beagles, is this is it, because it makes them to become not aggressive, but they become sensitive about food. They start paying a lot more value on food. And in your case, Van, I would suggest if your beagle is that sensitive, that is getting aggressive, I would say make sure that first of all you're just letting your beagle just to eat in peace. Just give the food and let it eat. Don't make a big deal of it. Don't make it to wait and things like that, because the more you do that, it becomes more sensitive about food. Most dog trainers would tell you the opposite, but this is my tip. When you are sensitive about something, and for example, if I'm sensitive about my phone and my wife says, you know what, you're spending too much time on that phone, so I'm going to take it away. If my wife takes away my phone and I don't have that phone anymore, I'll be more sensitive about phone. I would be more reactive to phone. So anytime there's a phone hanging around and just I can see, oh, my attention is going to go to phone, because actually that happens all the time to everybody. I think if we don't have our phones around, we are acting differently. So it comes the same to it. Dog case has the same thing. If food is so important, especially to a beagle, and it's very important, when it comes to eating the food, just let it be. Let them eat the food in peace without causing any scene or anything like that. So to bring that anxiety level down. So your dog says, you know what? Okay, eventually it's not going to be a big deal. I just get the food. But try to not to use food throughout the day for everything, right? For training and things like that. Try to say you're going to be fed at 10 o'clock and 5 o'clock, for example. And those two times are the only times that he is interacting with food. Other times, there's no food involved. So, therefore, he's going to be less reactive to food, right? Now, the other thing is that when you ask a dog to wait for the food before eating, the problem is that most dogs, they don't know what that means. The dog doesn't really know exactly what stay or wait means. So you have to teach the dog a good obedience command of stay or wait. Like you have to practice it really good for a long time for the dog to learn and understand exactly what stay or wait means. And then you start using other distractions or other situations, in this case the food, to ask your dog to wait for the food. At this stage, I'm sure your beagle really, it doesn't really know what stay or wait means. So when you use that technique that he doesn't know, it stresses him even more. So this is why I say for now, just let him be, let him eat it, the food, without making a big scene. But meanwhile, try to teach your beagle a good sit command, good stay command, good recall command, and then ask him to stay, like sit, stay, and then bring the food, and then ask him to stay while you present the food, and then release him to eat the food. But make sure that he knows all those before you put him in that situation. Most dog owners, they think their dog knows the commands of sit, stay, but the way you can test it to figure out if your dog knows sit and stay is by testing them in an environment in the dog park. If your dog sits and stays and comes to you, then you know your dog knows it. If they don't know, they don't do it, they don't perform it, they don't come to you or sit and stay when they are in the dog park, that means they don't know it. That's how you know if your dog knows commands or not. So if your beagle doesn't know it in the park, it doesn't listen to you, don't do it in the house either. In the house, your task is to teach it before you make them to do a task or command. If they don't know it, they simply don't know it. And your task is to teach them. I hope that answered your question. And your follow-up comment is, thank you for sharing tips and advice. You're very welcome. I've been binging your videos when I first got my dog. God bless you, sir. You are very welcome. I'm so glad that you're watching my videos. There are lots of videos, good videos there that will teach you a lot of stuff. And we have a comment from yours truly, Alisa. It says, thank you very much for your help. You are very welcome. It's my pleasure. So before I continue answering your questions, leftover questions, I just wanted to let you know that I have a program um, that I've just started. It's a new program, and it's called Perfect Dog Plan. This is a program for busy dog owners who want who are overwhelmed with their dogs and their dog's behavior, and you want to have a good dog who listens to you and pays attention to you and doesn't bother you. It's a program that is going to change your life. This is something that I'm very proud of. The way this program works is that we do a consultation session, free consultation session, using Zoom. I go through an interview with you to figure out if this program is ideal for you and if you feel that I am the right person to be hired for you. If everything works out, you can join the program. And if it doesn't work out and you feel I'm not the right person, or if I feel like this program is not made for you, we depart there. No pressure, no commitment, nothing. No charge, no nothing. All you have to do is set up a free call using the calendar that it's the link is there. You just set up a free call and we just go over the program and you learn even more. But some of the highlights of the program, is the benefits that you get is that it's a program that it will help you to have a healthy and happy dog, to have control over your dog outdoors. You learn at home everything in at home setting. You start learning exactly what you need to do using playing games and using play and praise. You can implement this in your few dogs that you have, even if you have few dogs. You can have enjoyable walks after you go through this program. Control all over the place, indoors, outdoors, wherever you go. There are lessons and training games that you can play with your dogs. We use games and play praise to train dogs. No food, no treats are used. You're going to learn a simple psychology of your dog. We have monthly challenges and tests. You have we're going to do weekly coaching calls, which means anytime you have questions, you can ask your questions. You are invited to a free Facebook private group that you can interact with the community members. And also, as I said, no treats are being used in this training method. And the best of all thing is that you have a lifetime access to the program. So basically, you're hiring me for a lifetime as a private dog trainer for you. So if it's something that you find interesting and you want to join this program, I'm going to share a link in the chat area. I'll call it Join My Program. Again, you can learn more using the link that I'm sharing. And also, you can also contact me, set up that free Zoom call, and we can chat and see if we are a match and if something that you want to do. All right. Let's go to the next question. Oh, yeah. The question from Donald was, I have a 17-year-old Yorkie, and all she wants to do is lick my pit bull dog. Please help. 17-year-old and it's obsessed with licking your pit bull puppy, pit bull. So that's your question. If that is the reason, I I would say, if that's what's happening, it's just that your senior dog is obsessed. Could be that there's few things. One, I'm thinking that it's mentally obsessed. It's just um, it brings when it licks, it brings it calmness and joy. So it develops into becoming obsession. Could be something missing in your dog's life, your senior dog's life. Could be also, yeah, maybe something wrong with your pit bull, and your senior dog is trying to help. Yeah, it could be mental, could be emotional, it could be health related. Um, I would do first thing that I would do is I would check with the vet to make sure that there's no underlying health issue. If it's a dog who's 17-year-old, there must be some kind of excuse me, health issue. So something, if there is health issue, that could be related to that. If there's no major severe health issue, it's just maybe check with your pit. Also check your pit bull too, to make sure there's nothing wrong with your pit bull. And after that, I would go and check to see if I'm providing maybe something else for my senior dog to lick on. Maybe provide a chew, something to chew on, some ice, maybe ice, flavored ice could be a good option. Yeah, something like that. Um, Hopefully that helps. Debbie is asking, how do I get my 1.5-year-old Yorkie to stop chasing my older Chihuahua and nipping its tail or back legs? So you have a 1.5-year-old Yorkie, and he's chasing your Chihuahua, and so I don't know exactly how old your Chihuahua is, but if you're saying it's older, therefore I'm guessing your Yorkie is has chosen to entertain itself with your older dog. That means you are not providing enough mental and physical stimulation for your Yorkie. Therefore, it has decided to stimulate itself physically and mentally using your older Chihuahua as a toy or something that it can entertain itself, stimulate itself. So, what I would suggest you to do is involve your Yorkie with other dogs, other younger dogs. Take it to the dog park. Send it to a doggy daycare a couple of days a week. Maybe invite the neighbor's dog to come and play with your Yorkie, or you take your dog to dog park and let your Yorkie to play with other dogs. Anything that you can do to allow your Yorkie to physically and emotionally, mentally get stimulated. So therefore, your older dog doesn't get bothered. One of the issues that I often see is dog owners, they get second dog, which is usually younger than the older dog, hoping that the younger dog is going to be entertained and learn things from older dogs. But that's in perfect world. It may happen, but most of the time doesn't happen, just because they're not the same. You can't. So for example, myself, Harvey and Jonah, let me see if I can get my fingers pointing there. Harvey and Jonah, they got along very well. Everything was perfect. Harvey loved Jonah. They played together, they slept together. But when I got Annie and Harvey's relationship is not the same, with same as Jonah and Harvey. Annie is a female. Could be that. Could be that Harvey just didn't get along with Annie. Annie Annie's energy and Annie's attitude is different than Harvey. Didn't really fit in. They like each other, but they don't love each other. You know what I mean? And Harvey only plays with Annie when he wants, when he has the energy, when he has the time, when he has the when he feels like he wants to play. He'll play only at those when he in his term. It's never Annie's term. Annie goes and says, "Can you play with me?" And Harvey, "No, not now." But throughout the day, once or twice, they do play together. And that is only in terms of Harvey. Harvey chooses to play with Annie. And therefore, I have provided Annie with different activities, different uh, forms of entertainment, physical and mental stimulation. So she's not bothering Harvey, and also she gets stimulated enough that she's not bothering Harvey or us. Hopefully that helps. We have a question from Stadia Gaming. Do beagles have a lot of health problems? I'm looking to possibly get one. Well, it depends where you're getting from. So what I mean by that is, are you getting it from a reputable breeder, beagle breeder? If you are, that reputable breeder should have a good line, bloodline, and good puppies, healthy puppies. Um, if not, if you're just getting it from backyard breeder or you're getting it from a puppy mill, hopefully you're not breeder, you're going to have problems. You're going to have health problems. And health problems are not always genetic. It's not that it's in their system and then you're taking over that breed. It all depends on how you build that foundation for your dog. So 90% of health problems can be solved by healthy diet. So there are a few things that you can do to create help a dog or your beagle to become healthy. One is a good diet. The other one is good exercise and physical and mental stimulation. And the third one is good um, lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, less stress, a lot of relaxation, and a lot of good times. If you provide those, which basically I would say 90% is the diet, 5% mental physical stimulation, another 5% I would say is healthy lifestyle. If you focus on those, you'll have a good, healthy beagle. Uh, when it comes to healthy diet, I always suggest raw diet, fresh food diet to a dog, especially if you're going to get a puppy. You want to start it fresh, start it good foundation with a good healthy diet, um, which will help you to have a healthy, happy dog, maybe even live longer than usual. Hopefully that helps. Next question is from Christian. Christian is saying, "Hello, I have one min pin. She's 9 months old. Whatever I ask to do, she always sits. She doesn't want to do other commands. Is she just stubborn?" That's a good question. I don't believe that dogs are stubborn. If you're not getting good results when you're training your dog, it's because you're either not clear or you are very emotional. So let me explain what I mean by that. When you're not clear, so for example, when we are training a dog, we make it very simple. In my program, you're going to, for example, learn how to simplify the training so the puppy or the dog learns faster. And to simplify it, you just, for example, stick to few words. So sit, name of the dog, command, hand signal. Rover, sit. Instead of having a conversation with the dog, hi, sweetie pie, could you sit? Would you sit? Can you sit? Okay, go ahead and sit. Can you sit now? Please sit. Would you please sit? Instead of that, having that conversation like that, which in your dog's mind has no meaning, it has no, doesn't get it, doesn't understand what you're saying. Uh, for example, if it does something wrong, if my dog does something wrong, instead of saying, hey, stop doing that, why are you doing that? I told you not to do that, in things, conversations like that, I just say, Annie, nope. And my Annie stops that behavior right away, right? Uh, so clarity is very important. Clarity is very important when it comes to training a dog. If you're not clear, then the dog doesn't understand it, doesn't learn it. And if you're not clear and you're not giving clear signals and clear information, then your dog doesn't learn it. And then you say, my dog is stubborn. It's not that they're stubborn, it's just that you're not clear enough. And the other thing is the emotional part of it is, as I was just giving you those examples, you could be either frustrated because your dog doesn't listen to you, so you get angry, you start being angry instead of being firm and clear, or you start being very soft, right? You become, oh, I told you to sit, why aren't you sitting, sweetie pie? One, come on, stay. Hey, why aren't you listening? What do you want? What do you want? Come on, do me. Instead of talking like that, where you're soft or you're angry, which are both very extreme levels of behaviors, emotional behaviors. When you get into training, um, uh, the dog gets confused and doesn't learn. So emotions can cause a lot of um, disconnection also. So in my program, for example, again, we learn all these things. We go in details in understanding how to literally understand your dog so your dog can understand you better, right? Hopefully that helps. um, didn't I put the link for potty training? I've been told that I haven't shared the link for potty training, so I'm going to share it one more time in the chat area if I didn't first time. Um, so it's called potty training for those who have had a question about potty training. Um, we have next question is from Jeremy. I want to say thanks for your helpful videos. You are very welcome, Jeremy. I have a 12-week-old beagle tricolor and I'm working with her every day. Um, the follow-up is, what are your thoughts on tie-outs for backyards? She's teething on my fence and tearing it up. 12 weeks old beagle. So when things like this happens, that's a clear sign that you're giving too much freedom to your puppy. And when they get too overwhelmed, they start doing the wrong behaviors and start um, behaving badly. So if you have a 12-week-old beagle that's 3 months old, one of the things that, first of all, one of the things that you have to realize is that they're teething, right? They're teething, so they're replacing their it's that's the age that it starts to for them to wanting to replace the puppy teeth with adult teeth. So you want to help them to somehow alleviate that emotions and feelings that they get and that funny feeling that they feel in their gums. You want to help them to, when they're teething, it starts itching and feeling funny. You have to first of all provide chew toys, puppy chew toys, so the puppy chews on those instead of your backyard fence. The other thing that I want you to also remember, and this applies to not only puppies but adult dogs as well, dogs need to sleep 16 to 18 hours a day. Puppies, maybe even more, 20 hours a day. They need a lot of sleep time. So that means less freedom, more confinement, more in a crate time, more in control, rather than free in the fence, in the backyard. If she's going to be going in the backyard, you have to have her under control, supervising 5-10 minutes. She runs around, plays, and hangs out with you, controlled, supervised, then goes back to the crate to sleep, to rest. If you have to address that. So things like that you have to be concerned about and start paying attention. Thank you for the question. Uh, Debbie is following up. I forgot to mention that my Yorkie is a female and Chihuahua is a male. Um, I don't think the sex is has to do anything, but you never know. In my case, I don't think, for example, just because Annie is a girl and Harvey is a boy, it affects the relationship. It's just the energy and the personality. Just mm, for example, I don't get along with everybody. For example, yourself too. You don't get along with everybody. Just because we are humans, it doesn't mean that we can hang out and get along with everybody. Um, you may not, your dogs may not be the perfect match. For instance, in my case too, but just because they're dogs, it doesn't mean they're going to match perfectly. All it means is that they don't they don't really match perfectly together, but we can help them to hang out and tolerate each other and live together peacefully, happily ever after. But if you see one of them is the trouble one, you have to come up with different solutions for that dog or that individual. All right, there's just a few more questions. I'm going to answer those questions quickly, and should be that end of the today's live session. Stadia, do you know any dog trainer for training a dog to be emotional support dog? That you have to research yourself in your local area, in your town or city that you are, and see what are the bylaws in your city or even in your country. Each look each city has different way of approaching the idea of emotional support dogs. In some cities, they don't value, they don't uh, accept it. In some cities, they do it as long as you go through a process of test that they do just to make sure that you have emotional issues. And then if the dog is compatible with that. So you just have to do a research in your local city or town or your country to figure out how the rules are. Everywhere it's different. Christian. Christian, you're saying I train her almost every day, but already 5 months there are no big results. So here's the thing: is one, probably you're training too much. you know, everyday training is no good. If you are training the way that most people train their dogs, commonly used treat training and using treats and doing the formal training, if you're doing that way, it's just too much. uh, every day is too much. You may want to reduce it to maybe 2 or 3 days a week maximum. And second of all, you have to change the method of the dog training that you're using. For instance, I use play and praise reward system as a dog training method instead of using treat training. Uh, because I use play and praise, it doesn't feel like training. So the dog learns as it's playing. So that you can do every day because you're playing with your dog every day slash training your dog. But if you're using dog training method of using treats to train your dog, scientifically has been proven that is not ideal to train a dog every day. Maybe once or twice or maximum 3 times a week. Hope that helps. Yours truly, Alisa, is saying, "What do you think about Dr. Morty's dog food? It is freeze dried? It's better than kibble. I would say it's better than kibble. Uh, the ingredients they seem good to me. The only problem or issue that I have is I break down fresh food in several levels. I mean, dog food in several levels. So we start with kibble, and then there is uh, canned food, and then there is uh, freeze dried, then there is home cooked, and then there is raw diet. So freeze dried obviously is better than the other two, canned food and kibble, but we can do better than that. We can do home cooked, we can do raw diet as well. Uh, the goal here is to make it as fresh as possible. Just because it's freeze dried, one is problem that I have is that is not fresh. Number two is when it's freeze dried, usually the moisture is removed from that food. And when you remove moisture, it's not fresh anymore, first of all. And second of all, um, dogs need the fresh food moisture. They need to get that moisture from fresh food. The fresh, blood and everything that is in a fresh food. Uh, and freeze dried, is usually, I'm guessing, is dehydrated. If freeze dried, you just have to figure out if it's dehydrated or not. If it's just frozen, and you get it frozen, um, and it's dehydrated, it dehydrates when the dogs eat. It dehydrates the dog. Even though you're adding water to it, it's not the same. It's not the same. Fresh food moisture is different than water. Hopefully that helps. Let me see. I'll answer the last two questions, and that would be it for today. Alvaro is asking, I got a 1 and 3 months old, 1 year old and 3 months old beagle. He's not able to be quiet and starts barking when we stop in a pedestrian crossing or when we try to have a drink in a bar. How can I work on it? Oh, the troubles that they cause, eh? Well, the thing is that you haven't, this is why I always say, you got to train your dog. Train your dog to the point that they really understand what that means. you have to train your dog. For example, in this case, sit and stay, or wait and sit and wait, lie down and wait. You have to train all these things. So when you are crossing the street, you say sit and stay while the light is changing. Or when you're at the bar, you can tell your dog to wait, sit and wait, or lie down and wait. These are commands that you have to train and teach your dog to use it in your daily life. But you have to go through process of training it. And the way you train it at home, in the backyard, front yard, and on to get to the streets and parks and so on. So when you're on the street or you're in the park and you say, Rover, sit, stay, come. If your dog listens 100%, then you know your dog knows exactly what those mean. And when you need to use those commands or those situations that you're going to be, for instance, at the bar, then you can ask your dog to do it, and your dog is going to do it because it knows what it's supposed to do. So training is very important. If you can't have a cake and eat it too, in a way. You can't just have a dog and expect your dog to do everything that you want in every situation and in every condition perfectly. If you haven't taken the steps to train your dog fully, that's the important key. Fully, your dog has to be trained fully. So what I mean by trained fully is you have to go through process of puppy training, basic obedience, intermediate training, and advanced training, and then off-leash training. You have to go through all this process in order to get the results that you want, especially if you want to go at the bar and drink at the bar and you want your beagle to be an angel. It won't happen unless you do the hard work. Sad reality. So if you want to, for example, if you want to get the results Alvaro that you want, set up a session with me on my, to see if we can work together for the program using my program. That could be a solution. I have the solution. If you want the solution, just contact me and we'll set up a Zoom session and I'll see if I can help you. Yeah, last question is from Miles. We have a 5-month-old pit bull mix who's teething and we are having a difficult time with nipping. We've tried redirection and vocal commands. Is there anything else we could try to do? Yes, there are a few things that you can do. This applies to other questions that we had about puppy nipping and chewing fences and things like that. So first of all, when you're using commands and redirection, a 5-month-old still doesn't know what that means. First of all, it's not solid. You're still training, you're still teaching. A 5-month-old is still learning. So don't have any expectations for it to respond to your vocal commands or redirection. Those mean nothing to your puppy. They goes in one ear, goes out. The only thing that it happens, it learns the words, starts learning the words. Doesn't know what it means. It will take some time for it to become a meaningful word. The other thing that you can do is chew toys, provide chew toys. The other thing that you can do is provide other puppies or dogs to play with, especially if you have a pit bull mix. You want not only to allow your pit bull mix to socialize with other dogs and be solid, calm, and gentle pit bull adult, but you want your pit bull to start practicing with other dogs. What we call is bite inhibition, biting another puppy, which is very normal, very natural, and that way you're allowing your puppy to practice this behavior with other dogs, which is very normal. It's very natural activity to do instead of practicing on humans and your arms and things like that. And because puppies, they do it as a play, we call it play bite. it they learn to manage their amount of bite that they need to put on. And also the other puppies, they bite your puppy gently too, that it won't hurt them. And what it does, it teaches them how to bite each other and practice biting and nipping and all that on each other, on dogs, rather than practicing it on you human. um, when we don't give this opportunity for puppies to play with other dogs, play with other good dogs, or play with other good puppies, then they redirect that activity that they naturally need to do to humans. And then we get upset and angry that they're nipping us and biting us. You just have to provide an outlet for your pit bull. Pit bull mix. I highly suggest you to do that. Not only just because your pup is your puppy, but especially that you have a pit bull mix. You want that pit bull puppy to really learn how to bite, how much pressure to put on, and all that now before it's too late, before it's adult and causes major damage, or becomes a dangerous dog, which many communities and many cities, they label pit bulls as dangerous breed, which they are not. They are very sweet and very normal dog. As long as you do your part, you will have a great adult pit bull dog. Hopefully that helps. All right, so that was the last question for the day. Thank you so much for joining today. I just out of surprise came live to answer some questions and help you with your issues that you're having. Remember that you can always join my program, Perfect Dog Plan, by just setting up. I'm going to share the link of the page that you can join me in the chat area. It would be in a description as well, which you can set up the Zoom call with me, and we can figure out if I can become a lifetime private dog trainer of yours. If you want to hire a trainer for life, where whenever you have questions, whenever you have issues, you can work with the private trainer. And also it uses a unique method of dog training without the use of treats or food or aversive tools or methods. Then it's your duty to contact me and set up a free call to see if we can work together. Hopefully that would be something that you'll be interested in and you'll be wanting, and we can work together and we can become a team, and I can help you to become an educated dog lover. Hope you enjoyed today's session. Again, all the information for the program would be in the description. And until next time, I hope you enjoy your dog and have fun with your dog. And thank you all for joining. Thank you, Debbie, for being here. Thank you, everybody, for being here live and asking questions and interacting with the channel. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Make sure to hit the bell icon as well. Click on the bell icon as well, so you will be notified as soon as I post a new video or if I go live. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask those questions in the comments area. I read them all and answer them all as well. And until next time, have fun with your dog.